How about a nice game of national thermonuclear civil war? Hey everybody, I'm Steve Green with Bill Weddle and Scott Ott, and this is Right Angle. And believe it or not, a sitting congressman, an elected representative of the people, went on Twitter to advocate the use of nuclear weapons against legal gun owners. Wow. Gents, the guy, this whole thing started on Twitter because of an NBC News story that says Congressman Eric Swalwell from Northern California wants to force gun owners to get rid of assault weapons. NBC said he dropped a grenade into the Second Amendment debate, which I don't think we're allowed to have those anyway. And Joe Biggs, who is retired U.S. Army, airborne, he's got the blue check, 200,000 followers, the works. He came back to this NBC News story and said, so basically Congressman Swalwell wants a war, because that's what you would get. You're out of your blanking mind if you think I'll give up my rights and give the government all the power. Well, Congressman Swalwell, who doesn't know to leave anything alone, especially my AR-15, he gets back at Biggs on Twitter and says, it would be a short war, my friend. The government has nukes. Too many of them, but they're legit. I'm sure if we talked, we could find common ground to protect our families and communities. Hey, Scott, you think reminding everybody that you've got nuclear weapons is the great way to start a conversation on equal footing to protect our families and our communities?
You know, there's nothing that makes the ground look more common than after a nuclear blast. I think that at that point,
everybody's equal.
That's right. We're all equal underneath the bomb.
Yeah.
I think this just kind of exacerbates the reputation of people on the left of not knowing whereof they speak. I think the congressman was pretty sure that a nuke was also a kind of a rifle. And that he was like,
"You're way too kind,
because
my
he's
dear
thinking,
boy."
An AR-15 is limited to a relatively small radius of influence, and I think that he doesn't understand that when a nuclear device goes off, everybody is affected by that. But I know he probably was thinking he was being amusing in his own mind. But it just puts the lie to this idea that Democrats pushed throughout this election cycle, that the way they were trying to win Trump voters over was by saying, those Republicans who tell you we want to take away your guns, we don't want to take away your guns. That's nonsense. We just want a little common sense gun legislation, make sure that the mentally deranged don't have access, make sure that we do those mental health and background checks and just close a little loophole here and there. And by the way, knock, 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 get ready to ram the door open. And that's what happens after you give them power. And I think we need to be a lot more assiduous in our questioning of our representatives, and they're going to lie, but I think we need to be a lot more vigorous in that, but so that at least you have them on the record openly saying that which they saying they won't do that which they actually intend to do. I think that Mr. Swalwell has a great future ahead of him. I just don't necessarily think it's in this country.
Well, he does think he has a big future. This is a guy with presidential ambitions. He's got a toe in the water in Iowa already. Bill, you think this is the kind of conversation that Congressman Swalwell wants to have with the primary voters of Iowa in the next year and a half?
I think Congressman Swalwell is a man with a great future behind him, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. So let's just recap. He makes a statement as a sitting congressman saying that not only am I not going to honor my oath to defend the Constitution of the United States, because it is in there. If you look, you'll find that it's actually right there. It's second. So it's not that hard to find. So not only has he, in violation of his oath to protect and defend the Constitution, because the oath doesn't say the parts of the Constitution that I agree with, so we'll start right there, why don't we? He's just in violation of his oath of office, should be removed from office for that, if nothing else. But the dynamic is interesting. It wasn't started by the awesomely named Joe Biggs, who has got to, if that's not the coolest name for a
Right.
vet and a Second Amendment advocate, then I don't know what is. It makes me want to change my name to Johnny Awesome, but nevertheless,
I want to get a G.I. Joe Biggs doll.
that's awesome.
right?
Yeah.
Action
So
figure.
so let's just recap. So a sitting congressman, in violation of his oath of office, decides that he's going to publicly announce that he wants to confiscate weapons of people and the people holding those kind of weapons, and I may or may not be among those kind of people. I am. Then what the response to this man's openly stated desire and intention as a representative of the United States government to take away the weapons that we have to defend ourselves against people from the government taking away our weapons. And when he's confronted with the reality of this, his next reaction is to go directly to the nuclear weapons. And Scotty is a very good man, and he's a very kind man, bless his heart. And I know he always tries to think the best of people, and I found that's generally not a useful application of intellect in
It's
this
quaint
in
and
this day and
charming,
age.
though.
It is very quaint and charming. So I think he went directly to his totalitarian nature. I'm in the government. I don't like this. I'm going to take it from you. A guy who actually put his life on the line defending that right says, this might be more difficult than you think. And then instantly the authoritarian reflex is, no, it won't be difficult at all because we'll use nuclear weapons and we'll get them that way. But ultimately, Steve, here's what I think. I think Eric Swalwell, and I generally don't like using ad hominem attacks, but some people just deserve them and begging for them. If there's one guy, if you look at his Wikipedia page, his official congressional photograph, you tell me that he doesn't look like a guy who just came out of a nuclear apocalypse in order to step into the photo studio and have his photo taken for the Congress. But what he's done, Steve, is he's made the most compelling argument that I've heard for private ownership of nuclear weapons. Because the entire idea, the entire idea of the weapons in the hands of the people is to prevent the government from treating us like the servants and not like their masters, which is what we are supposedly. So being ahead of the curve on so many other things, I would like to just mention that the probability is exceedingly high that I do own my own set of personal nuclear weapons. I would like to say I'm not an extremist. These are not hydrogen weapons. They're simple atomic fission weapons. They're just kind of off the shelf kind of thing. And I should also say that they're probably not California legal either. But nevertheless, for those of you in the government who might decide that this might be a worthwhile risk to take, I'd like to remind you that I do have full nuclear capability in terms of response and retaliation. And I would just close by telling Congressman Swalwell that I, for one, welcome my congressional overlords, and as a trusted member of the media, I can be useful in rounding up other conservatives to serve in his underground sugar caves. Good luck with that.
Bill actually has a flag at his house with a picture of an ICBM on it, and it says, "Come and intercept it."
There you go.
That's exactly right. It's like I sewed it myself. It's got a nuke lying sideways. It says, "Come and take it." Yeah, exactly right. Brilliant.
I can't believe we made it 9 minutes into this topic without one single reference of, well, that escalated quickly. Anyway, there are a couple of questions to be asked, and I tried asking Congressman Swalwell these questions on Twitter, but he did not engage back with me, so I figured I would try again on this forum. Hopeless hope, perhaps, but it's a serious issue. Whether or not he was joking, it is a serious issue he raised for somebody who has the desire to someday have his finger on the nuclear trigger. So what I would like to ask the congressman is this: at what level of resistance does it become reasonable or even rational for a government to nuke its own citizens? And kind of digging deeper into that, what the congressman needs to think about, and I hope he thinks about this very seriously, if the worst happens and push really did come to shove in this country, would you maybe rethink your gun confiscation plan? Or would you let the mother burn? Because that's essentially what it comes down to, Congressman, based on your own words. And I think you're an idiot, sir, and let me tell you why. You know, the British tried to confiscate our guns at Lexington and Concord, and they thought they were going to have a short war on their hands. And of course, 5 years later, they were signing a peace treaty in Paris with the brand new United States of America, where we enshrined our gun rights in the Second Amendment. And that is your right angle on that, brought to you by the members of BillWhittle.com. If you like what you see, please come on board. We would love to have you as members. Thanks for watching.
Free nuclear weapon with every new membership for the first 100 people that apply.
Sweet. I only got a toaster. Damn.
I was saying, I think we should give Congressman Swalwell
You got an assault
free
toaster.
1 month membership if he'll agree to come on this show.
Brilliant. I love it. Anyway, I'm trying to sign off here, so thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, and don't tread on me, Congressman.